How's it going?
Good, and yourself?
Good. Just getting out of work.
Yeah, keeping warm?
Yeah, a lot of snow fell. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's still snowing out. It's supposed to cool off for the next couple of days.
Of course. Not allowed to stay warm for too long.
No.
Yeah, so did you take a look at at our bag of topics?
Yeah. Well, actually, the one that caught my eye was the one that we were talking about when we were at the casino.
Which one was that?
Which was VLTs and video games.
Oh, yeah. That was like the first one on the list.
One of them. I added one today, but that'll be another discussion.
Okay. Awesome.
And just, do you want a sneak peek or no? What it is? No.
Yeah. Well,
yeah?
What? Sorry? I'm adjusting my hearing implement.
Your hearing implement?
Yeah, I think I can hear you better now.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was going to... Well, we can do it now. I'm not going to say anything there. We'll wait for that episode.
Okay.
So when we were at the casino, we were looking at all the slots, VLTs and whatnot. It's all video. It's all like video poker, but just like video games, things have progressed to the point where, all the flashiness and the high definition and stuff has all been implemented, obviously. So now when you go to those places, the whole room pretty much lights up with all this new technology.
I think you need to go into some more detail on this. It kind of describe what we... Oh, my car is not stopping.
Oh.
Wow, okay, I'm stopped. Wow.
Wow, the treacherous ride home.
Yeah, that was like a power slide.
Yeah. Be careful.
Yeah, there's no cars around, so I'm on this nothing road. It's kind of a back road. Sorry, yeah. So just describe the setting. Like when we started talking about this when we were at the casino.
Yeah.
Why this came up? Like.
Well, we originally went and saw Cheech and Chong.
Yep.
And then
that's the top 10 episode, Todd.
Was it?
Yeah, it is now. It just keeps climbing.
So anyway, we went to go see them, and it was either during the break, before or after, I can't remember, and we were walking around and looking at, at the VLTs. And I'm not much of a gambler. I mean, I've been to Vegas twice, and I think I've bet twice.
Twice total? You bet twice total?
No, I shouldn't say that. I played a little bit the first time, but the second time I went, I think it was just basically I threw money in. I think I broke even. I was happy. That was it. I was done. The rest of the time was pretty much just sightseeing. So, I mean, back then when I was there, I mean, you had the stand-up machines with that, it looked like the bubblegum light on the top that would, swirl when you won type thing. So this would be like old school slots that you would see in the old Vegas movies and whatnot.
Yeah, or it was actually a mechanical machine.
Yeah, a mechanical
electronic
machine.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there's more moving parts. Obviously, it costs more to maintain. Nowadays, it's all digital. You just do it from the flip of the switch from Seattle somewhere. Who knows? But we did notice, like, if you watch old movies, you'll see the old type of slot machines. Now, the ones now are just like video games. If you're into video gaming, you'll notice, like, say, if you were around back in the day when Tomb Raider came out, I don't know if it was a 36, 46, Pentium 1. I can't remember now where it started. I think it was Pentium 1. I can't remember for the PC anyway.
Yeah, actually, probably.
And the graphics, and the graphics from that to say the Rise of the Tomb Raider now is like night and day. I mean, they've even given you the option of using Laura's original character.
Like the original skin?
The original skin, the low-res skin, the big block.
Really?
Which is it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But
a la Minecraft.
What's that?
A la Minecraft. Like Minecraft.
Is there different Minecrafts?
No, it's like Minecraft.
Oh, back then, yes.
Yeah, like that Minecraft Minecraft looks like that's what it looks like.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so when we went to the casino and we saw this, I think the first thing we saw was some type of a jungle theme type thing with lions and whatnot. And you'd have a whole array of monitors on the top. Of course, they're all linked together, showing you some scenery or a screenscape or something or other. And then all the monitors that were on the actual, I can't remember now. Were they more? I think they were taller than they were wide, weren't they? Pretty much the same as what the old slot machines.
Yep.
So I guess the narrower they are, the more people you can fit. Just like just like a parking lot.
I didn't even think of that, but that's I bet you that's probably the thinking behind that. That would make sense.
Yeah. Well, it's like a parking lot back in the day when people drove big boats, and then as time went on, I think it almost seems like they've made parking stalls narrower for shopping malls so that they could fit more. Jam more people in there.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much the same idea as when you're doing slot machines. They're not going to have like a super wide screen. They're going to make it narrow, maybe taller, to give you more, view that way.
Yeah, because the height's free. Doesn't take up any real estate.
No. When it comes to per square footage and how much money people are throwing in, it's crazy. But how many different? That was one of the ones I remember. Do you remember what the other ones that they had there?
Well, there was always I remember there was one. It was just a pretty blonde, a drawn blonde on there. I remember that. I don't know why that stuck out, but it was just
a cartoon.
On one.
Okay.
I don't know.
Was it on the screen or was this like?
No, it was on the side of the machine. And then on the machine, it's not I guess the artwork on the side is a step up from what it used to be. But I'm trying to remember what was on the screen. Like it looked like it was just like a slot machine, but it was all video.
Right.
But it was almost like some of it almost had like not a 3D effect, but they weren't like boring old flat 2D graphics like a Mario Brothers. Like they were more. It almost like you could reach out and touch it, sort of thing. Like, I remember that there was one that was like alligators or something. I'm trying to remember. I actually wrote them down on the list. What some of the stuff was, but they even have like it wasn't Game of Thrones, but something like based off of a TV show. So I guess. Movies and shows are selling their licenses to video game companies, not video game companies, but gambling game companies.
Right. Now, did you notice any of the, I don't know what brands, you want to call it brands, but say you had, Atari or
none that were
these are old ones. Yeah.
Yeah, there was no brands that I was familiar with. But it got, there was nothing from it, but there was a lot, I noticed there was a bank of machines, and it was all from the same supplier. But I don't know if they were the ones that actually designed the game, or if it, does it work like the way consoles work? This is an Xbox game made by company A, and then there's another Xbox game made by company B, but there's a distributor of the game, which is Xbox or PlayStation. And then some are multi-platform and some aren't. So, I wonder if it works the same way.
Well, here's the thing. Say if it was Xbox or Bandai or one of those Midway or those companies. Now if there was a company...
Nice. Midway. It's a nice throwback there, Midway. Nice.
Yeah. So, say, for example, you had, say Xbox had their own machine there. I guess maybe Xbox isn't a good example. Just a company, like Capcom or one of those companies, say for example, created their own machine. Yep. Now the only problem with that is because the coding may be similar to what they use for video games. I don't know if that would affect Well, basically what I'm getting at is if someone got a hold of the like the code, okay, from this company that also makes these slot machines, they could inherently crack the code if it was similar to what was actually in the machine, so that they could actually, who knows, plug in a fake credit card with some strip on it that would, whatever. I don't know. The technology is there. If there's, it's like anything else. If there's a video game out there and someone wants it and they want to crack it, they can get it for free. Like I said, the technology.
Just like a video game, you can do it with the slot machine. Likely, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So if you had a company that someone worked for, they had the ins and outs of the technology, they could theoretically, figure out a way to circumvent it.
Yeah.
Now these companies that we saw that were marked on the machines, I can't remember the names, but they were not any name that I could recognize from any video game that I've ever played. Not to say that there wouldn't be, but not from what I recall.
Yeah, no. I think you and I have a fair understanding of the games that the companies that make games. We didn't recognize any of the names that we saw there.
Right.
But the question, I guess, the question that came up is like, how profitable are these companies? Is this like the video game market where these video game developers are making like crap tons of money? They're making $1 billion of revenue. Is it as lucrative a market as companies that make video games? The companies that make these gambling machines, these slot machines, is it as lucrative? Because there's a lot of people gambling. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, they could be leased machines from, say, the company that actually makes them. It could be a licensing thing. Like, you guys, you know what? You're going to use our machine or use our programming in the machines. We want, X amount of dollars a month for rental. It's like people, they rent, rent either computers or electronics or whatnot. If that's the kind of idea, they say, okay, I need 18,000 slot machines. Okay, this is the array I want. Do you just go with one company? Is a whole bunch involved? Do you have to pay licensing fees? Is it a one-stop shop? You pay once, that's it, it's done. Is it, okay, well, we'll service them for free. It's like when you buy a vehicle. We'll cover warranty for the first, while. I'm sure there's a lot of ins and outs on it. I haven't seen anything on Netflix yet, but with all the other documentaries out there, it may be one in the near future.
I can see someone
with it or hear it here first. What's that?
Is gambling? So the way gambling works in Manitoba, at the very least, I don't know what the rules are for the rest of Canada, but this is a government-run agency. So gambling is controlled by the government, right? Or it's regulated by the government. And the government actually, it's almost like a tax. They make money off of the gambling, and it goes towards government. So it's a stream of revenue for the government.
Well, that's the topic that I wanted to cover, that I was talking about the government and taxes and how much money you make and how much you actually take home, versus but you're right. I mean,
because this is yet another tax.
Yeah, it's just another. I mean,
it's the addicts.
At least you're getting something out of it. Yeah, but at least you're getting something out of it, whether it goes into Joe Schmo's pocket, who's out in the Caribbean somewhere, and all he does is just rake in the cash, or whether it's the government with our politicians who go out to God knows where and do their thing too, getting kickbacks and whatnot. It's if that's the case, but I don't know. It's just a lot of money. A lot of money. Just don't know where it's going. I mean, they whine and complain they have no money. I don't know. When I calculate it in my head where every cent goes, I don't see how they could not have money. They're just paying themselves way too much, I think.
Yeah.
But I digress. But anyways,
I knew there was going to be a digression into government corruption at some point.
I don't want to cross into the other topic yet. But
yeah.
I'm just going to touch on it. But
So I guess a lot of the things that came up was, okay, there's companies that this is what they do. They probably don't make video games, but they make this. But there's a certain level of sophistication and software design that goes into making these machines now, because they're not mechanical anymore. They're literally a video game, and the game is gambling. Like,
right.
So I think it's simple. They just have to look really nice. So the graphic side of it has to be good, but
it has to be eye-catching. It has to be alluring. It has to be something that's going to draw you to it.
You've got 3 seconds to catch that person's attention to get them to go to your machine.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's like they are spending all of their technology on that portion of it. But I mean, some of them even had moving pictures and things like that, and so they're not just static screens anymore like they might have been back in the day. Like, I think when the casinos, the government-run casinos first opened up, they had machines like to play blackjack and stuff like that. And I think they might not have been touchscreen at first, but they became touchscreen later. But it was cards. It was pictures of cards. It wasn't anything dynamic or, visually stunning. Like, no different than a game of solitaire on your phone, except take it back like 10 or 15 years. There was nothing special about it. But I guess as these companies that make these machines, over the years, they've gotten better and they can charge higher premiums, because let's face it, casinos have a lot of money to blow because they make so much money. So they must be able to pay these makers of these games a lot of money in return. So I'm thinking, in theory, it should be far more lucrative to make a gambling game than to make anything else. So when you're selling your game to the market like that, are they looking at the algorithm you're using, and is that one of the selling features? Well, this algorithm pays out 1 in every 10,000.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it runs off of a percentage. And it's way easier to do digitally than it is to do manually.
This game looks stunning, but it pays out 1 in 100. Well, we don't want that game in our casino.
Well, that's all tweaks. So that's all in the options menu. You could probably adjust that.
That's a good. Do you think that might be it? What they do, like there is an options menu where they can actually tweak the algorithm. Maybe that's like the jurisdiction of the province or the state or the country to what level it needs to be at to be legal.
Well, this is what I've heard. Now, the thing is a lot of discussions that we have, we sometimes don't do the research involved to get you all the facts. But that's the whole point. Like, someone who's just kind of walking into a conversation, this is what we think.
Yeah.
We could go back after and go, oh, we were completely wrong. But from what I've been told is in Vegas, you are more likely, the percentage-wise is higher to win than it is, say Manitoba or
in Vegas
or wherever. I believe so.
Oh,
I believe so. I think that's the way there. I don't know how they rig it, the percentages or whatnot.
But Vegas is definitely not government run.
Yeah, no,
that's for sure.
Yeah, and then of course now there's establishments that, bars and stuff that have their own VLTs in it. So obviously they're getting a cut of them, whether or not they're renting them or this is a smaller. They may do it differently, the big casinos versus the little ones in the bars and stuff that people kind of hang out on weekends.
Yeah, but every bar has a row of slot machines.
Well, for sure.
Here, anyway. I wonder what it's like in other provinces and in states and stuff. Or, like, what's it look like over in the UK or Sweden, like, our other listeners over there? Like, what do you have in terms of gambling? Is gambling even legal where you're from? And does it take on this? Or is this electronic gambling market with these machines, is that strictly a North American thing? I'm betting there's different regulations in other countries as it regards this, as it goes to this.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear, if someone out there from a different country wants to chime in. Yeah, definitely let us know. But
Can you are you in front of your computer right now?
No, I'm in front of a tablet though.
Can you just? I'm just curious. Can you do a random Google search for top gambling countries?
Top gambling countries.
Yeah, or highest amount of gamblers per country. I'm just curious what the numbers are. I'm assuming North America is going to be at the top of the heap, with U.S. number 1, maybe Canada number 2.
Top gambling.
And I'm assuming all other countries fall behind on that because they have better things to do than gamble.
Top gambling games, top gambling sites. So you're not restricted to actually going to the actual casino. Now everyone has it online.
What are top gambling countries? What comes up with that?
Okay, countries. Okay, top gaming countries. Okay, it automatically gave me in Africa. I don't know why. Not what I punched in. Okay, countries.
Like where are we going to fall in this? What do you?
Okay, top 10 gambling countries. Great Britain.
What?
Great Britain. It says United Kingdom takes the leading position in terms of number of gamblers.
Wow. Okay.
Australia, which is number 2. Australians.
Holy crap!
Have also a pungent penchant for gambling.
Yeah.
Penchant. There's a new word for me. I've never heard that word before. Pension is about as close as...
It's right near Rishabuktu.
Oh, okay. China and Macau. China's land-based on online casinos are banned, but state lotteries, sports betting, and mahjong are still available.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So guess where Canada rates?
Well, I thought it was number 2, so I'm totally off base. Let's say it's 18.
Okay, well, say U.S. and Canada. Which one do you think is a higher percent of gamblers?
Well, I'm going to have to say the U.S.
Yeah. So U.S. is number 6. We're number 7.
Okay, so we are in the top 10.
We're in the top 10.
Wow. So I guess gambling is a problem everywhere.
Well, yeah, but it just kind of says where the most of them are, but they like to gamble. So number 4 is Singapore, number 5 is Italy, and then USA, Canada, and then India is number 8.
Where's Sweden on that list?
Okay, let me open it up.
Are they even on the list? I'm wondering if there's any countries like Sweden, Norway, Denmark, like any of those types of places up in that northern-ish region of Europe. Finland, any of those? Like, are any of those even in the top 20 at all?
Well, this gives me the top 10. So 8 is India, 9 is Ireland.
Okay.
Let's see here. Number 10 is Finland.
Okay.
Yeah. It says your gambling has long been recognized as a problem. And those residents who spend more than 120 euros per year on gambling are officially considered as addicted. Just
as an aside, I'm going by a transit bus right now, and it's a South Beach casino ad on the back of the bus.
Right. Oh wow.
Like we're assaulted with ads for gambling. Remember when they boycotted ads for smoking? Because it's a highly addictive thing and it shouldn't be promoted. They won't do that with gambling because that's government run.
Well, see, smoking is on the decline, so they're not spending as much money for advertising. It's more of getting people off of it because now it's costing the government money to take care of the people who are, who've had the effects of smoking over the years, like, either lung cancer or emphysema, all that type of thing. But when it comes to gambling, hey, it's out of your pocket, it's in our pocket. Same thing with, but I'm getting into the other topic again. But so where were we before we got to...
So I guess I was trying to see where the gamblers were and how profitable it is to be making these games. Apparently, based on those stats you showed on the countries that are heavy with gambling, it's a thriving market, and it's not just a North American market by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh no, if there's money to be made, it'll be, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's gambling or, alcohol, and now they've legalized marijuana here in Canada, throughout Canada. So that's going to be another, more money for them again.
Apparently, the legalization of marijuana is making people go to their dealers even more.
Well,
from what I'm hearing.
Well, I mean, they're saying the black market is way cheaper than they've made it. From what I'm, what they're showing, when you go to a dispensary, I guess there's such stringent rules on how it's packaged and the whole gamut of the hoops that they have to go through.
Okay, so then it costs way more.
Yeah, because I was watching a documentary on Netflix, and it was called Death Mountain or something or other, and that's where people were growing all their weed, whether it was legal or not. The legal stuff, they were interviewing those people, and they were talking about the hoops they have to jump through to be able to sell the product, whereas the black market, they sell more of it, and they don't have to deal with all these things. So, and on TV, even on the news, when they're talking about it, they're saying, they had to advertise, and it says, well, why are they legalizing, marijuana? And one of the answers was, we're trying to displace the black market. And I'm like, give your head a shake, man. You guys are charging way more than what the black market is. How do you define that you're going to be doing that?
The black market existed before for a reason.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything to dispel the black market, other than arresting people and stuff. But I don't even know how the laws work for growing your own stuff. Yeah,
you're not allowed to grow it.
You're not still?
You're not allowed to grow it. From what I read, unless you have, I think, a medical card, I think you may be allowed to do that. But without that, and if you get caught with it without, when it's not in its specific container, bag, whatever, that they give you, and the police, pull you over and it's not in its...
So why, so if it's legal, why can't you grow it then? I don't understand.
Think about it.
Well, no, I know what the answer is.
Yeah.
I know what the answer is, but it's like it's government regulated, it goes to the government, but people are allowed to make their own liquor, and that's government run.
Beer.
I could buy my own.
Anything under a certain percent, you can't make hard stuff. Like moonshine, forget it. You still can't make that stuff. You're not allowed to make any hard stuff.
Really?
That I'm aware of. That's. I don't think that's ever changed.
Oh, okay. So that's probably part and parcel. Maybe those laws are tied in together, or they're basing it off of that, perhaps. Interesting. Because I can grow my own potatoes. I thought one of the reasons was, well, you can't sell this because you're hurting the people that are part of the market, that make their living off of that, and they get government subsidies to farm or or whatever whatever the reason is.
Yeah, whose coffer are you taking money out of if you grow your own?
Yeah,
the government. The whole. Government, gambling was illegal for the longest time until the government was able to figure out a way to cash in.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, cha-ching.
So was alcohol.
So was alcohol, and I'm sure before cigarettes were regulated. I don't think you could have stopped people from smoking back before it was even government.
They're growing the tobacco and they're just rolling up a cigarette. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, so they just kind of must have slid that into we're going to start controlling this now type thing. But with this other stuff, you just kind of walk in and.
Interesting. It's really interesting because I'm still allowed. I'm still allowed to grow potatoes, and like I can grow any food I want. And I know the farmers union or whatever it's called. I mean, it does have government regulation to it. Like if you're selling food as a farmer, there's regulations you have to follow. I don't think you're just allowed to sell it per se, but people do. But they don't arrest people for selling potatoes.
If
they didn't follow the regulation.
If potatoes cost the same an ounce as it did for pot, and you had to pay the equivalent amount of tax, you would not be allowed to grow potatoes. Guaranteed.
Okay, now the potatoes that come out of PEI are gold.
Yeah.
Those are really good freaking potatoes. You're telling me an ounce of pot is worth more than an ounce of a PEI potato? Come on.
Well,
in my mind, the value is much higher in that potato.
Well, it is a good potato, I will admit.
I'm not gonna lie. When I moved here, I lost weight because I stopped eating potatoes.
Well, back home, the potatoes, they were brown. We didn't have red potatoes back. They were brown.
Yeah,
but
brown.
They were grown in the reddest soil I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're so rich.
So whether you took the Confederation Bridge. Confederation, sorry.
Yeah.
Confederation Bridge. When you go taking the bridge from New Brunswick to PEI, when you can see the banks, they are red.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, the closest thing I can think of is if I've seen movies where they show the Grand Canyon and things like that, and the soil. It's not brown; it's red.
Yeah.
It's pretty much like that. So that's what it grows in, and that's what gives you that flavor. When we moved here,
mineral,
and grab the brown potato, it tastes like mud.
It tastes like nothing. There's no flavor.
No. Yeah. So red potato was about the closest you could get, to call it a potato, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because when we moved here, the way they prepare potatoes is quite a bit different than back home. Like here, they put sour cream on it, bacon bits, and all these things to spruce up the potato to give it flavor.
Right, chives.
Which is interesting. I'm always trying to lose a couple of pounds. So you're putting all these additives on a carb to give it flavor, so you can enjoy that carb. When I moved here, and I'm like, I got to put all this stuff on the potato to make it taste good. Why don't I just have it without the potato? Because there's a lot of calories in the potato as it is. And then you're putting a shit ton of extra calories on it to make it palatable. I just stopped eating the potato outright.
Well, it's like salad. I mean, salad's good for you. Well, if you buy the salad,
that's a good
example. And it's got, all the dressings and all the crap that you put on it. It's like, it's not healthy anymore. It's just, you can't just eat the salad on its own.
I'm just going to go have that hamburger instead of having, dressing that has 1 million calories in it.
Yeah, you're going to have to make it palatable, because you're not going to be just, otherwise you're like a cow. You're just chewing, leaves. It's like you're just chewing grass.
I'll put some sarsaparilla on those leaves. Give it some flavor.
Sarsaparilla.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't we write a song called Sarsaparilla?
You know what? I was just going to say that. Sarsaparilla. Can't remember what that one was, but.
Do you remember there's a one? We were, I can't remember what house. One of the houses we lived in Winnipeg. One of the many houses we lived in. We were jamming that basement. I think it was like a basement, a sub-basement or something. It was like 2 lower levels or some weird shit. And one practice we had there. What's that?
That was the Blue House. Do you remember when I took that picture? I had those
27.
I got those.
Right. Was the house number? 27 was the house number, right?
I believe so. Yeah. And Dad had his blue 62 hardtop.
Oh yeah.
And in the basement, that's where we took the picture. Remember, I had those psychedelic bottoms on back in the 80s?
Well, I think that was from those practice, like those jams we did.
Yeah.
I think that's where sarsaparilla came from, right?
Yeah, and then you had this great big tape player. It was yellow.
Yep, that was my Ghetto Blaster. I did a lot of recording on that thing.
Yeah.
But we also, like, I'd have all my lyric sheets in front of me.
Right.
And you know, we jam whatever, AC/DC or Kiss or whatever the heck we were doing, or Van Halen. And one set of lyrics I actually wrote. It was on the back of a piece of paper that Mom had, and I wrote the lyrics down. I didn't realize she'd written on the other side of the paper, and she had a recipe on there, a barley soup recipe on there. And we were jamming though one time, and I actually sang the recipe, and I don't think anybody noticed, but I still have that recording somewhere. I called the song Barley Soup. It was just an improv jam, and flipped the page over, like black and black on one side and Barley Soup on the other, and that was kind of a fun.
Sarsaparilla, though.
No. I think it was the beginning of another recipe. It just says sarsaparilla. It didn't have the rest of the recipe, maybe, or something. I don't know. But that was a good tune, actually. I got to see if we could dig that out. Probably worth revisiting, but it was a lot of fun. It kind of had a really funky kind of that ding-da-ding kind of thing going on. You were doing some cool stuff, and Dano was on bass there. It was pretty good. And add the potato. And I was kind of singing James Brownish. Add the celery. That was pretty good.
Yeah, mix it up.
Yep. Set the boil.
Simmer for 10 minutes. Zibba zibba.
Oh, we're gonna have to record that song before Saturday before someone rips us off. We wrote this song called Barley Soup.
Hey, you know what? Hey, who else has ever done that?
What? Write a song about a recipe?
And write it as a recipe.
Well, yeah, no. There was the mashed potatoes by James Brown, but I don't think he was singing the recipe.
No,
do the mashed potato. Do the mashed potato.
Yeah, I don't think he added butter or anything else to it.
No, I don't think so. Okay, well, maybe we'll do that. Have some fun songs. All right, I've made it home. I think we're good.
Righty.
Outside of this, I'm going to check my calendar and see what nights I have available. We'll do another studio session. We'll see if we can get that special guest we haven't mentioned on air yet that we've been talking to, and see what he's available. Maybe do that. Have that be the next session.
Okay.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll I'll see what that guy's availability is like, and if he can't make it, maybe we'll grab one of the other. There's like 3 or 4 other guys that have been poking and want to be on the show. So,
right.
So we'll have a surprise coming to you all soon. We'll make the announcement after we do the recording of that session. I don't want to spoil it before then.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we'll sign out here, and I guess we'll see you on the flip side.
All right then.
All right.
All right. See ya.
See ya.